Okay, thank you. I'd like to welcome everybody to the board meeting of the Steamship Authority. Today is November 18th and it's 10 o'clock. I'm going to read the announcement, which you've now all heard many times since 2020. I'd like to inform everyone that Falmouth Community Television, also known as FCTV, and Sean Driscoll, the authority's communications director, are making audio and video recordings of today's meeting. Anyone else is making an audio or video recording of today's meeting, please identify yourself by pressing the raise your hand icon in the Zoom dashboard, or if you're joining by telephone, *9 on your keypad. And when you're recognized, please state your name for the record. Thank you.
Or if you're here, raise your hand. Louisa?
Louisa Hofstad.
Thank you, Louisa.
Thank you. Kai?
Good morning, everybody. Kai Quigley, the Inquirer and Mirror.
Thank you. Unki?
Iyanough, MB Times.
Thank you. And that's all I have.
All right, thank you. Reading a statement concerning remote participation pursuant to Section 20 of Chapter 20 of the Act of 2021 as amended. Board member Moira Tierney is participating remotely in today's meeting because her physical attendance today would be unreasonably difficult. Ms. Tierney is participating in the meeting via the Zoom video conferencing app. All members will be clearly audible to each other, and as a result of her remote participation in the meeting, any and all votes taken today shall be by roll call. So welcome, Moira.
Thank you, and thank you, Mr. Chairman, for allowing me to do so.
It's our pleasure. Thank you. Okay, our first item is the minutes of the authority's October 23rd meeting and public session. Is there a motion to accept the minutes or any amendments?
Motion to approve.
Motion's been made and seconded. It comes to a vote. Again, since this is remote, it needs to be roll call.
Jeffrey, aye.
Malkin, aye.
Randy, aye.
Tierney, aye.
Thank you. Okay, the minutes have been approved. Mr. Lowell, do you have a Port Council report for the November 4th meeting?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good morning, everyone. Hopefully the blueberry muffins are good today. Your meeting? Just a little past information there. So Mr. Lawrence provided us with a pretty solid update on the MV Monomoy and lots of different pictures and of all the improvements, freight deck, crew galley, and hopefully the Marine Safety Center is back up and running with more availability to do sea trials, hopefully. And then he provided an update on the MV Barnstable emergency dry dock, but the propeller issue, which you've all heard about, and at that time there was not any more information. The damage was discovered during a routine underwater dive survey, as you know, and they did a survey on the Aquina and the Woods Hole and found there was no damage at all. So this is an ongoing mystery. Mr. Munson then presented an update on the Woods Hole terminal reconstruction, recent milestones on the utility building, and epoxy flooring and external preparation for pavement. Recent milestones at the terminal building included installation of metal studs, placement of mechanical equipment, painting of steel exterior posts and beams. Mr. Innes provided an update on the reservation system project, reporting that 20 of 21 workshops with the EDA have been held. Allison Fletcher presented a request on extending the reservation-only days to year-round on the Vineyard route for 2026, and we voted 5-0 to recommend that matter to you guys. And these little things are good, I think, for us to be discussing. There's others out there as well. Mr. Rosen then presented the trip diversion from Oak Bluffs to Vineyard Haven from 2016 to 2025. This year, more than 200 diversions resulted from 2 events. The effects of Hurricane Erin in August and a nor'easter in October. And then Ms. Campbell reviewed the 2026 reservation timelines. And then Mr. Rosen presented the business summary for September and then provided transportation agreement with the Vineyard High School District, which provides a fixed price contract for school approved travel. And we voted 5-0 to recommend that matter as well. Other topics, you guys know that the transfer bridge project on Nantucket is underway. They're almost finished with the South Slip. And hopefully we've got the Woods Hole now so that when that gets switched over to where we're running out of the South Slip, we don't have to back up trucks, which is difficult on that side and would cause a lot of problems. So I appreciate everyone's involvement to get that to happen. And then the Veterans Day promotion we discussed and Thanksgiving extra service with the Sankaty. So any questions, comments, etc.?
Question? No, thank you, Nat.
Okay,
Appreciate
thank you
it.
guys very much. I'm going to have to leave you. I'm sorry. I'd love to stay for the whole meeting. Take care. See ya.
I'm
We'd
sure.
love to have you.
We'll see you guys. Thank you.
Good to see you, Nat. Thank you.
Yep.
All right, General Manager's report, Mr. Davis.
Good morning, everyone. So first, I'll mention who's in the room here with us. So Mark Amundson, Terrence Keneally, Courtney Oliveira, Sean Driscoll, Todd Balvey, Janice Kennefic, Angela Campbell, Allison Fletcher, Paul Hennessy, and Stephen Coleman from the Steamship Authority. Tom Innes is here, as well as a former director of the San Francisco Bay Bridge Ferry System, Jim Swindler, and Louisa.
Welcome.
All right. First item we have is an update on the Monomoy. So Zach is over on the Nantucket. Are we frozen?
Oh, Nat's frozen.
I'm frozen. Oh, I'm moving.
Good morning, everyone.
Morning.
Zach.
So begin with the MV Monomoy. She's still currently down at Alabama Shipyard in Mobile, Alabama. As we head toward and near the end of her conversion. First, we have a photo from the stern quarter showing all the coatings that are now complete. Vessel finishing her conversions pier side. An updated photograph of the wheelhouse as testing of the bridge equipment is underway. This photo here shows a little dated, shows the preparations for the final coatings of the freight deck, those of which are now complete. Here we have the completed crew galley. For the Monomoy milestones, we're complete from propeller shaft installation through the stability test. And we are still awaiting communication and feedback from the Marine Safety Center in regards to our stability letter so that we can prepare for sea trials and COI. And we're reaching out to our partners at the Marine Safety Center to get an update on that. As the government reopening, the employees who are furloughed are slowly starting to trickle back in.
Just like add in the
And-
stability team. Stability
Your
team.
mic, your mic.
For financial snapshot on the Monomoy. Oh, sorry, this is the project as a whole, Aquina, Barnstable, and Monomoy. Payments made to date, $84.7 million. Outstanding commitments and allowances at $960,000, and a current estimate of the entire project at $86.1 million.
Just wanted to add in that the stability team is back in at Marine Safety Center in Washington, so we should be getting some prompt information back in regard to our sea trial and our trip north.
Thank you.
With that, I can take any questions.
Yes, please, Mr. Jeffries.
I guess just as the Coast Guard ramps back up, what would be the best case scenario as to when we would have the Monomoy here? I'm not holding you to it. I'm just trying to get a sense of where we are in terms of the schedule now.
We'd be looking at sending our crew down right after Thanksgiving. And because right now, if we send them down, it would fractionalize. We're right now doing onboard testing of the PSTP, periodic safety test procedures and the design verification, very typical of Barnstable and Aquina. And right after Thanksgiving, we'll be sending a team down. It should not take very long to complete the sea trials and the dock trials and start planning our trip north in early December.
Anything further? Okay. Barnstable, Zach?
The MV Barnstable unscheduled dry dock. I'll run through the presentation and then what we've done since the Port Council meeting. So during a routine annual dive inspection while the vessel was in repair at our Fairhaven facility, I was found that there was damage found on both the port and starboard propeller blades. So these here are photos of the port side propeller blades. And here's some up close photographs of that damage after the blades were removed. And some further photographs documenting the damage. And here we have the new blades that we're thankful that were on loan from HOS reinstalled. And then the damaged starboard blades. And the new blades reinstalled. Since the Port Council, we've spoken with crew members, and no one is aware of a grounding or a strike that took place on board the vessel. The captain reports no less vibration with the new blades installed from the transit back from Thames River Shipyard where the repairs were made. There was the same captain who took the vessel to the shipyard. We've also looked at our fuel logs. There's no discernible difference going back to May through September in terms of fuel usage. Right now, we're waiting a weather window so that we can do a bottom survey in Hyannis. We need calm waters to get an accurate bottom survey. And beyond that, we just like to again thank Hornbeck Offshore for loaning us the blades.
Bob?
Yeah, Zachary, and Mark, when you do that survey on Hyannis, I'll give you a call. I'm very familiar with the harbor there and the dredging project, et cetera. One of the things that, historically, that once you get outside of Falmouth Park, on the port side or the east side of the channel, in that particular area, it's pretty rocky, and that goes right out to the end of the bishops and clerks. And the inside there is fairly shoal. But when they dredged the channel, initially, well, they put a jetty and a breakwater at the end of Falmouth Park. Falmouth used to be connected to Egg Island, and in the entrance is what they call the gut, where the channel came around Egg Island, and then went back into Iyanough. But when they dredged that cut through between Egg Island and, Falmouth, they went out where they are now in a southerly direction. Then it took a dog leg, to stop it. Okay. When they redid the channel about somewhere 1998, 2000 or so, and at that point they straightened the channel, and when they straightened that channel, everything to the left going towards the spindle and that area there, again, is all rocky. And it wouldn't take much, from the dog leg they took and the straight, to think that there may be some sediment left over from that. Now, that's just a theory and nothing else. But in any event, I'll give you guys a call, because I did a lot of work on that when I was chairman of the Water Maze Committee and on the council and a few things like that. So I'll give you a little insight.
Thank you, Bob. Anybody else? Peter?
I guess I'm going to ask the uncomfortable question. Is it reasonable to believe that no one operating the vessel would have felt the grounding given the amount of damage to both propellers?
I think that, sorry.
May I add on to that so that we get the same answer once, please? I had the same question, and what I find fascinating is I've been approached by two licensed heavy boat captains. One said it's very reasonable to believe that nobody would have noticed it. The other said it's not reasonable to believe that nobody noticed it. So diametrically opposing views. So not only, Zach, I'm interested in you, I'm also interested in Paul, what you have to say about that.
So I would begin by saying that it is extremely possible that this occurred and nobody was aware, especially if it happened when they were operating their bow and stern thrusters. If you ever stood at the stern of the vessel, when they're running the stern thruster, that in and of itself imparts a lot of vibration, and it may be very difficult to discern the vibration from the operation of the stern thruster to striking something.
Thank you. Paul and then Bob.
Yeah, could I just jump in on that there? And I agree with the first captain you spoke of. First of all, the Barnstable has a North Sea bow, and the pilot house is 4 decks above the main deck and probably 5 decks above water line. It's got an air draft of somewhere around 60 feet or something. Moving back, that's a 245-foot vessel. And moving back to where the props are, and I don't know how far back the props are from the stern, but I'd say from the bow to the stern, it would be in the neighborhood of 200 feet, a little less or whatever. And the vibration, you may not be able to feel at all unless there's somebody, in the engine room who's down that far, aft. And when you go into reverse, there's a natural chatter from fixed prop and the variable pitch prop. so that you may not notice, the difference in vibration at that point.
Mhm.
There's a lot of physics involved in this, and I believe, it's extremely possible that the crew knew nothing about it.
Thank you.
So that's my
Thank you.
theory.
Yeah, Jim, I agree with your previous statement. I mean, we might know if there's vibration and we might not know. I mean, we don't damage the blades every day, so it's,
Right.
in a fixed prop, like Mr. Jones said, you would probably notice a difference. But we went over all researched abnormal, dockings. We've done everything we could to, figure this out, this mystery. And this,
Thank you, Paul. Anything further?
Where are we on, I guess, reviewing the AIS data of the vessels?
so we did review what available data we had. So transits only goes back 90 days. So we reviewed all that. We reviewed the video, which goes back 60 days. And there's no abnormal dockings. And it is a mystery, and we're still working on it.
Okay. Anything further on this? All right, Zach.
And so now we have the MV Iyanough.
Thank you, Paul.
It was Veterans Day, Tuesday, late Tuesday night, during a routine inspection being performed by the vessel's chief engineer when he was making his rounds in the port jet room. He found a small crack in the outboard shell plate. He immediately notified the vessel's port engineer, who notified myself, and we made the rest of the proper notifications to the Coast Guard and to Marine Operations. With that, we took the vessel out of service and we brought her to Fairhaven Shipyard, where we began. We came up with a repair plan, developed a repair plan with the Coast Guard. Once the repair plan was approved, we proceeded with that repair. That repair consisted of cutting out the affected area and inserting an 18 by 18 inch insert. This is that insert fit up. Here's a photograph of the insert fully welded with some prepared for some coatings. And then the repairs painted. And we have to also say special thanks to Kevin McLaughlin and his crew at the Fairhaven Shipyard for taking us so quickly and making the repairs as rapidly as they did.
Great. Anything? Peter?
Thank you for that update. I guess my question, it goes more towards you, Mark. It's no surprise that this happened. I know it's right out of what happened is right out of the April 2022 useful life and obsolescence report, that this is the type of structural issue that'll come up because of the exhaust ports there and the aluminum being used. I guess my question is, where are we in terms of its next dry dock date for the Iyanough, as well as the plan to replace it? I know I reviewed the useful life report in preparation for this meeting. It was built in 2006. Aluminum boats typically are only supposed to have a 20-year lifespan. The useful life report said that due to the maintenance that we do routinely on it and taking out of service, it could have 22 to 25 years of life. But that gets us to 2028, 2031 needing a replacement. And at the time, it said that it would take a minimum of 3 years from design to launch that vessel. So what are our plans in terms of replacing that vessel? What are the estimated costs? Because I presume the 20 million that was listed in 2022 is no longer going to be just 20 million. And how are we going to finance?
Just to follow up the first part of that, This is certainly an area in the exhaust area. There's a lot of, with aluminum, the coefficient of expansion is really high, putting very high stresses in that area. A few years ago, we upgraded, put a new 25 millimeter plate in there and worked with the maker and in this new exhaust, the way it protrudes through the hull. We did have a crack after that on the opposite side of the vessel a few years ago, and this is very typical. This is not a result of any diminution of the aluminum. It is just something that we have to every now and then live with. We have spare exhaust plates as a result of that, and we look at this area very closely in the wintertime. So this is very high in our radar. Kudos to the crew for picking this up real early. As far as for planning for the next vessel, the Iyanough is certainly a pillar of our operation out of Hyannis. A lot of changes have taken place, and Bob, feel free to add in, is especially now with the Tier 4 engine requirements that we would have to do. That's added a new complexity, and with the tariffs on aluminum, we need to take a real close look at what those costs are, and I think that that's something we need to do this year, and we'll present that to the board at a later date. But yes, there's a lot of changing elements right now in the high-speed craft, and Bob, you might want to add something.
Yeah, so one of your questions was about dry dock. So it is scheduled for a dry dock come January 5th of 2026. We typically end up, that vessel gets dry docked almost every year at this point because it's also storage at the same time. Yes, typically, high-speed crafts do have a much shorter life expectancy than the steel vessels, but there are a number of ones that are out there already that are 20 to 25 years and still in terms of, yes, the next vessel would need to be a Tier 4 vessel. There's very few of them have been built or in the process of being built. I'm aware of at this point 2 that are being done, that one of which is similar to the size of the Iyanough, and I think the number I saw was about was some in the $30 million range. So obviously, we try to maintain the Iyanough as to high standards, and the maintenance crew, Zach, and the maintenance crew staying on top of it. Again, kudos to the night engineers that they go through and they check to make sure, especially in these problem areas where we know that with the heat transfer that it ends up being a little bit more susceptible to some events occurring. So I think in terms of it, I think we'll have to look at as we update the capital plan and the 5 and 10-year capital plans, factor in where a replacement for that vessel would need to be taking place. But it's priorities in terms of what needs to be the next new build that will have to be determined by the board.
Just to follow up then, are we looking then that we'll address this in the upcoming capital budget next year? That's being proposed, or
The replacement?
Mm-hmm.
I think the 10-year capital plan that we provide the board does indicate where we anticipate we'd have enough funding to be able to build another vessel or convert another vessel. So that'd have to be part of it. Yes.
As well as a strategic plan.
And I'm just, where do you think, with the useful life report, it seems that the latest that they're thinking out that the boat could be its useful life for us is 2031. Do you think that's accurate, and is 3 years enough, given now the Tier 4 engine requirements and the tariffs on aluminum, that a 3-year from design to launch, is that still a reasonable estimate?
I think there's going to be a lot more design required as a result with the Tier 4. It's a much heavier vessel. We have to look at weight. I think it's going to be a different design slightly. But we have been very aggressive in our coating programs, and we do tremendous amount of diminution measurements. I believe there's more life than the average because we've taken so well care of the Iyanough. Again, this is not as a result of diminution of any of the aluminum. It's just this is a thermally actuated crack. So to answer your question, I think we're going to have to go to a further design level and actually go to a new design or evaluate all designs.
So for those of you who weren't on the board at the time, so the Iyanough was actually a design build proposal that we received from Gladding Hearn to do it. And I want to say it was ended up being about a 16-month process from award to acceptance of the vessel. And obviously I think the experience of having and especially since this is a very niche market in terms of building vessels of this size, in the speed requirements, that I would think that at the minimum that we'd be looking at a year and a half from award, and then how the supply chain factors into it. And we were at PVA Regional recently, and Peter Duclos from Gladding Hearn commented on the not only the availability of aluminum, but also the price. That's still, even with the tariffs, it's still, some of these are coming, the aluminum's coming from Canada. But if there's any federal monies that would be involved, we'd have the Buy American, Build American requirements. So that would have to also factor into it.
Okay, thank you, Bob. I guess one of the things then this brings to front of mind is something that I'd ask that we put on the agenda for the first quarter of next year, which would be a thorough review of our capital plan, specifically looking at the issues of replacement vessels and when. So the timing of an Iyanough issue, we were talking about, do we look at, in terms of the freight boats, do we look at another Woods Hole design, or do we look at a fourth boat like our offshore vessels? But where are we going? What's the issues of the hybridization of those boats? So real hard look at capital plan and the issues of the fleet and the timing. And then, of course, the funding necessary.
Yeah. So
something for the first quarter next year.
And I know Mark Rosen has sent out the capital budget request to staff members. We anticipate with Alex coming in on board, we want to wait until he was here before we present something that may be a one-year thing, with us needing still to flush out the 5 and 10 year plan a little bit more in depth. But I anticipate that we'd be doing that again in the first quarter.
Yeah, that was my idea, doing the first quarter. Thank you. Anything further on this one? All right, Robert.
All right. So next we have is an update on the Woods Hole terminal. Thank you, Zach.
No problem.
All right, so Woods Hole Terminal, aerial view of the site. Employee parking lot is in the foreground, and the terminal building up in the upper middle. Next. So this is the in the utility building, the locker room. So bench seating was crafted, and the lockers have been installed in that area. Next. All the lighting for the second floor has been installed at this point. Next. The carpet was installed in the break room and the multi-purpose room. So both of these pictures are actually the multi-purpose room. So the elevator contractor was on site. They have to do a weight test as they wheel on a bunch of weights to make sure that it's built to the right standards. So that's been done. Next. They've successfully connected the generator and tested it. And then in addition, there's also a panel in the bottom left, you'll see in the event that something was to happen to the generator, that we'd be able to bring in a temporary generator as well, if need be. So next. So this is on the west side of the utility building on the south side of the property. They built created the rebar and the pad for what will be the rubbish area, the dumpsters. Next. Now we moved into the terminal building. They're installing all the metal studs for the walls. Next. So then you have the plumbers that are starting to do the piping for the sanitation. Next. Actually, can you go back one? So in that bottom left picture, you can see in the back that some of the mechanical equipment has been already put in place as a result of when the model was designed. There was some concern over making sure that there was sufficient access for anyone that needs to work on that equipment. So we did end up making a small design change in the hallway that goes to the agent's office and the terminal manager's office. We had to move a doorway, and the terminal manager's office is now accessed through the agent's office as opposed to directly from the hall. So next. The HVAC ductwork is being installed. And next. So now they're starting to work on the footings for the plaza, creating that around the terminal building. And next. And again, the retaining wall that's as part of that plaza that's around the building is being formed. Next. So the project to date, we've spent 22. To date 22.4 million has been sent. We still have outstanding commitments of 13.9. The project's estimated right now at 36.369 million. We've had $1,116,000 in change orders, or 3.5% of the contract. Colantonio still anticipates that the utility building will be completed and turned over before the end of the year. I prepared this yesterday and then found out that we issued the 298th email that was issued yesterday regarding the updates on this project. So with that, I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Just a quick one, Bob. You mentioned the generator. Do we have a mobile generator?
Typically, all the terminals are hardwired in for generators. We do have a mobile generator for Oak Bluffs because it's seasonal, and so we don't want to have it sitting out there in the elements. And we also have our reservation office has a trailer generator as well that remains on site. But the idea being is that if something was to happen to that generator and we're out of power, that we still have the ability to
Exactly.
yeah. So it's a suspenders on top of the belts.
Thank you.
All right. So next, we have an update on the reservation system replacement, and I guess Mark and Tom Ennis will provide that.
Thank you. So, and wanted to give an update on True North. So up to date right now, we've just finalized and everything is signed on the contract between ADIA and the Steamship Authority. It took some time, they just had to get all the I's dotted and T's crossed. And so we have, next slide, please. And I'm going to bring Tom over. He's going to give an update on our dashboard.
Okay, great. So, yep, project is well underway. We've recently finished the workshops that were scheduled with IDEA and have also finalized the contracting, as Mark mentioned. So, big thanks to all, and really appreciate IDEA being willing to really jump into the project and start, even though we didn't have signatures on everything. So, really appreciate their willingness to help us keep on track. So now we're in the process of finalizing the initial set of requirements that will go into the solution design following their process. And we've been refining the procurement timeline. And just for reference, I'm looking at the upper left-hand box on the slide. And then we have scheduled for December a series of town halls. I'll speak a bit more to those on an upcoming slide. And as I mentioned, looking towards IDEA in terms of the overall solution design. So we continue to move forward with a similar set of business decisions. I mean, this is a challenging project, as mentioned before. There's really thousands of decisions that need to be made in terms of, configuration, in terms of how do we, reflect the vessels, the trips, the products, the special programs of the Steamship Authority. And so all of that is in process, while at the same time just managing the risks inherent to a project of this size around the resource capacity. This is an exploration of all the current programs and policies. So the needing to revisit those, and just making sure that everybody stays in line, and looking at this as this is not a sprint. This is a long effort. And so, just trying to keep everybody focused and motivated. So in terms of the work streams, I'm not going to go into a lot of detail, but as you can see, right, this is our dashboard. And as happens with a project like this, you can see that we are almost all green, except for with the reservation system. We've marked it as yellow. This is reflecting also the vendor is reflecting that we're trying to stay on track with their timeline. The reason for the yellow is that we're clarifying, now that we've gone through these workshops, we're now clarifying or re-clarifying all those particular things that are special about the Steamship Authority's programs, and needing to restate those. And so we have a plan to catch up. We're working closely with the vendor to align in terms of all the customizations, and then get back on track. Any questions? Comments? Okay. If none, we're really looking forward to, we've set up a series of town halls. This will be the first in a series of town hall meetings. So these are scheduled for early December. There'll be more thorough announcements going out shortly in the local press. So we've scheduled these for the Vineyard, for Nantucket, and then also for the mainland. Since we created this slide, we've also decided that we've added a fourth virtual town hall that will be on the 11th, just to make sure that those that aren't able to physically attend any of these meetings still have an opportunity to give their thoughts, give their input, ask questions. And so this will be a combination of sharing the system, sharing the benefits of the system, sharing what we're excited about the IDEA product, and then also it's really meant to be a dialogue, really looking for feedback, looking for input, looking for questions from the public about the system. And then the last piece would be that this is also a call to anyone who wants to be part of our beta testing program. We're looking to engage users to be part of this development process, to help us make sure that, as we're configuring the system, as we're setting up the programs, that they're working as intended, and that we're, making sure that the interface, the desktop version, the mobile version, works as intended and makes it easier for everyone to be able to make reservations.
May I ask a question?
Yes.
How are we getting the word out to people who would be interested in learning, participating, and doing this? How are we advertising this to the communities?
Yeah, Sean
Sure.
can answer it better than me.
So we do have ads running this week and probably next week as well in the local newspapers. We have flyers that are going to go up in the terminals and on the vessels on both routes. I sent out a news release yesterday afternoon, and we'll be doing some social media and digital advertising as well, including in our e-news.
Thank you. No.
All right, great. Thank you.
Questions? Anybody? Okay. We have had members of the community who've been involved with Peter's group who've been helpful in this, so I want to thank people who are participating.
All right. Next item is an update on the trip diversions. So now that we've completed the season running into Oak Bluffs, want to provide some information on that. All right, so for the 2025 season, we ended up having 348 trips that were diverted. 2023 actually was the high water mark, other than the 2020 season, which we excluded for a number of reasons, COVID. So next, the 2025 season was impacted by Hurricane Erin in August, which resulted in 111 trips being diverted. And then we had the nor'easter in October, in which 106 trips were diverted. So those two events accounted for over 50% of the diversions that we had on that route. The next. So the average from 2016 through 2025, excluding 2020, is 279 trips being diverted. So this year we were a little above that, but and next. Want to point out, however, that since 2016, there's actually been an increase of 14% more trips scheduled to go into Oak Bluffs on top of it. So even though we've had more diversions in 2025 than we had in 2016, there's still more trips operating into Oak Bluffs than we did back in 2016. This was just for informational purposes. I know Mr. Salito was interested in a number of diversions. A lot of those are, again, it's weather dependent, making sure that we have a safe egress onto and off the vessel. And we don't want to put our customers or our crews at risk by going there. So the terminal agent, along with marine operations, stay in contact and discuss when it's appropriate to be diverting. So. That's all I have on that. If there's any questions?
Nothing.
All right. So next, staff want to present a proposal for extending the blue line. So Allison Fletcher.
Just trying to make sure I'm not breaking the place. Good morning. Good morning. I just want to propose to the board, that due to the ongoing construction down at the Woods Hole Terminal, as well as the Vineyard Haven Terminal, staff has recommended that we extend the reservation-only system to year-round for the year of 2026. The Woods Hole Terminal is still undergoing major construction and redevelopment, which is significantly limiting space and capacity for operations over the next couple of years. And also, the Vineyard Haven Terminal will be using the use of the slips for the duration of its construction, which is expected to last through 2026 winter schedule. These changes will likely result in an increase in wait time, congestion at both terminals, and impacting our ability to serve the travelers efficiently. We're going to continue the year-round reservation-only system in anticipation to help alleviate some of this congestion, ensuring the islanders and residents and visitors can securely plan their trips to and from the island. We are going to continue with the Blue Line, which, just to go over it, is going to be 7 days a week with a rolling 12-car or 12-vehicle line, depending on the time of year or time of day. If the terminals can increase the number, they will be increasing the number, or it could be decreased depending on what construction is going on and what space is being utilized for those projects. We're also going to be hopefully getting up and running the callback for Blue Line. So if we do run out of space, we can put the customers on a callback similar to what Hyannis and Nantucket have for standby and get that also going. At the November 4th Port Council meeting, the group voted unanimously to extend the day of sale. Staff is recommending the extending of day of sale reservation-only program to year-round for the Martha's Vineyard route to help ease congestion at the terminals and to better serve our traveling public. Any questions?
They're going to get first. Please.
Two things.
Yep.
There's always two things.
Not three?
Two things. Thing one, I'm all for traffic flow, and we can have a study on that around the new terminal building and reducing congestion on Woods Hole Road and on the property of the Steamship Authority. We have an item coming up in terms of a trial of the standby in Palmer Avenue. Should we talk about that now as part of this discussion? Because I would be concerned, I'm concerned about approving this policy going forward for an entire year without a trial of the Blue Line, a trial of Palmer staging. So we can take that out of order, or we can just continue.
Well, that's up to the board. I would just point out that at this point, it's been a year and a half that we've had the Blue Line in place.
Correct.
Because of the construction. So, but if, and it would,
Yeah, I can.
sure. So I'd want to talk, if you want to talk about that now.
Well, from my point of view, in terms of congestion and safety at the terminal, in terms of the people traveling back and forth from the vineyard, in terms of the potential to have a standby if it works, and doing a trial, that would tie into my reaction to continuing Blue Line only and reservations only for a whole nother year.
So I had to wait for terminal manager and the director of parking to come back from vacations, because we do give people vacations around here, which is nice. So now that they're both back, I'm going to be hopefully setting up a meeting either sometime this week or the beginning of next week to sit down with the two individuals, because it's going to directly affect both of them. One, for the parking lot, making sure that we keep space available for that. And two, how are we going to have it staffed with the terminal employees up here to send cars down and whatnot. So we will be starting those discussions either at the end of this week or the very latest beginning of next week.
So is it fair to say that at our next meeting, which is on the 9th of December, we'll have a plan for a trial of staging?
We should have something in the works, yes. A plan in the works.
If I may,
Okay.
I think it was in your packet later. As part of the terminal reconstruction, there is some site work that needs to be done.
Mm-hmm.
That's part of the contract, in which they need to be raising the site around the terminal. And as part of those discussions, we're going to have to be, it's going to take place over, what, a 3-week period or so.
December 1st. roughly.
December 1st. So actually that'd be prior to the next board meeting. So the discussions that we started to have on this would be that this may be just a perfect time to try a trial period. So that way we stage the vehicles down here to free up as much space as possible for the turning radiuses that is going to take place. One of the things is, we're looking at it that we're going to have to make sure that we get the Woods Hole back on this run, because there's going to be a time where when it slips, the trucks won't be able to back on. They'll have to drive through. So after this Nantucket stroll, we anticipate putting the Woods Hole back on the Vineyard Run, and trying to coordinate all that. So.
I'm certainly aware and sympathetic to all the moving pieces that go into our schedule and the boats and the capacity and the timing. But what I do want is a commitment that we will have a trial, and we will stand by it, Palmer.
Yep. No, we will. And like I said, now that I have the parking lot manager back, and hopefully I can catch my terminal manager before he goes on vacation again, because 'tis the season. I'm gonna have a sit down with them and go through that, and hopefully relatively soon we can start getting something going. My biggest concern is how are we going to get all the information out to our traveling public? Because I know what happened last time when we tried to send out mass mailers. It didn't exactly work well, unfortunately, because of the addresses in our reservation system. So I'm going to have to work with Sean at some point once we get this hammered out on how to make sure we can get the traveling public aware of it. So if it's something that they're going to show up 2 hours early for their trip, they know to come here before going down the terminal.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, that's a training issue for the public as well. But
Oh,
fortunately,
absolutely.
since we've tried it before, we know what the problems are. We'll probably be able to anticipate them.
Well, fortunately or unfortunately, however you want to look at it, the last time we did try staging off site was at the Katomet lot.
Yeah.
And I believe I had 10 vehicles show up.
Okay.
So,
Let's
which was good. They showed up. So
let's have a plan at the
Yep.
next board meeting for a trial.
absolutely.
Thank you.
New staging here.
That's going to be an interesting factor too, because depending on how much we're going to be pre-staging up here, it also might mean that we have to go to TBL, which we don't normally do this time of year, except for on the holidays. So that means we might have to keep more drivers on.
Now, does that mean trucks too?
It can. We do get tractor trailers in here, so it's definitely possible. We could be staging them up here as well.
I mean, in Hyannis, in comparison, the trucks can go to the airport
Right.
and valet parking. Is that into your, not valet parking, but valet transport?
We don't do driver services down here because we are down to one dock worker with a CDL. So we wouldn't be able to do a driver services type situation and getting the trucks down here. So they would have to do it themselves.
Thank you.
Thank you. Sorry.
I guess my first question is the current reservation, day of sailing reservation program that we've approved. What is its expiration date prior to this proposal?
You mean
The one we,
reservation system?
the current policy we have in place.
We're not going to be,
I'm just saying that the
Oh.
board approved,
oh, December.
like December, okay.
Yeah.
So, I do have several questions, but I think it interplays as well to the offsite staging, and be better off just holding off on those questions for when the proposal comes. As well as how that impacts our upcoming reservation switchover, which hopefully policy changes in that system will address many of the issues that we won't even have to talk about. So I would propose then, given Jim's concern, and I share it, that maybe we just modify this recommendation, approve it for the first quarter, the program to continue through the first quarter. So that way we have a requirement that the board and the staff have to act on the possibility of this offsite staging, or at least reviewing this policy again, rather than just redoing it for a whole year. I don't want to kick the can down the road further in terms of trying an offsite pilot.
Right, and I know we are going to need to keep up the blue line and no standby through this winter with all the construction that's going, especially with the backfilling of the property and raising it up to the proper grade. It's going to be very limited because we're also looking at changing bus flow patterns on the property and all that during this project as well. So there's gonna be a lot of moving parts. So it's anything to help out the staff down there by limiting the congestion is greatly appreciated.
So I guess my question is, I know you're asked for a year, but should we approve 90 days or 120? I mean, basically, end of March, end of April.
I would say 120, to be honest with you, because come springtime and the summer, we're going back to day of sale as it is. At least 5 days a week or a few days a week, so.
Well, no, the proposal is it's 7 days a week.
Right, but if we don't get it, accepted, then we're gonna go back to how it always was, where it's Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday are standby days.
Well, assuming you do a trial
Mhm.
in the first quarter, we'll know by the end of March.
Yep.
How this thing goes. So are you suggesting, Peter, that we accept the blue line only reservation policy through the first half of next year, the first quarter of next year?
I was thinking with the first quarter, obviously open to, we've approved every time you come back to us, but I don't want it then to, like kick the can and then we don't focus on this issue.
Well, that's why I'd like to have a commitment
Right.
on a trial on at our next board meeting.
Correct.
Plan for the trial.
Well, and looking at giving you 90 days then gives us a bit of a carrot and a stick to make sure we get the trial proposal by next. Not that you won't do it, but I'm just.
Was that okay with staff?
That's fine.
All right.
Then I would officially move to amend the staff recommendation that we approve the 7-day-a-week blue line reservation only day of sailing through the end of March 31st, 2026.
Second that. Okay, it's been, motion's been made and seconded. It comes to a vote. This is a roll call vote.
Jones, aye.
Jeffrey, I.
Malcolm, aye.
Randy, aye.
Tierney, aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Alice.
All right, next, Angela. There you are. We'll be providing an update on the 2026 reservation timeline.
Here we go. Hi, Angela.
Hello, good morning, everybody. So I just wanted to give everybody some informational info on the 2026 opening dates. So it's for May 14th, 2026 through October 22nd, 2026. Head Start will be through January 13th through January 26th. The first week will be for all non-transferable reservations in the account holder's name. The following week, starting on January 20th, will then allow those who would like to make the transferable reservations along with the reservations for the account holder. January 27th, we would then propose opening for the Nantucket general bookings online. And then on February 3rd, we propose opening for the Martha's Vineyard general openings online. And then the phones would open on February 10th. We do have the extended dates for the fall and winter spring. So fall opening for October 22nd to January 5th, 2027 would be June 17th, 2026. And then for 2027 spring, which would be January 6th, 2027 to be determined end date, would be October 20th, 2026. Those participating in Head Start would be allowed to make 10 reservations. 5 of those reservations would need to be directly in the account holder's name. The additional 5 of those, 3 of them could be transferable. And then they could be also booked directly into somebody else's name. No more than 3 would be transferable though. For this past year, 2025, we had about 15,696 people in the excursion program. For the preferred program, we had 3,369 participants. The requalification emails are going out this week. We already have had a number of customers submitting in for the requalification as well. For the 2026 extended office hours for the Mashpee office, we will be open from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. for the day of sailing line, as well as our high-speed fast ferry line. And that will be every Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday from June 19th to September 7th, as well as the additional dates of May 21st to 26th to cover for Memorial Day, June 30th to the July 2nd for 4th of July week, September 8th for Labor Day, and then again, October 9th and 12th for Indigenous People Weekend. And does anybody have any questions in regards to any of that? Everybody's okay?
Question, comment? Okay. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
All right, so one more item, results of our Veterans Day promotion, and Sean.
Right.
Sure, just wanted to update you on the results of our annual Veterans Day promotion. As you all, I think, were on the board for, or most of you anyway. In 2019, we began this promotion to honor all military personnel, including those in active duty, veterans who have been honorably discharged, and retired veterans with free passenger travel. This year, we distributed a total of 47 passes, 16 of them from Woods Hole, 11 from the Vineyard, 9 from Hyannis, and 11 from Nantucket. Last year, we distributed 58, but Veterans Day was also on a Monday, so it was adjacent to a 3-day weekend. But it is in line with what we've done in years past. We've sort of always hovered around that 50 ticket mark. So just wanted to bring that to you and for your information.
Thank you. All right. Business summary.
All right, so agenda should have actually said it will be presented by Assistant Treasurer Courtney Olivera
I was wondering.
in Mark's absence, so turn it over to Courtney.
Right.
I'm good. Good morning. As Bob said, I'm going to present the business summary for the month of September. As a reminder, all the traffic statistics are reported as one-way travel. There we go. Passengers carried for the Martha's Vineyard route in the month of September were down 912 passengers, while passengers carried on the Nantucket route were up 1,012 passengers. Year to date, we are up on both routes a combined 44,829 passengers, or 1.9%. Next, passenger vehicles carried. On the Martha's Vineyard route for the month of September, we were down 1,188 vehicles, and on the Nantucket route, we were down 17 vehicles. Both routes were down for standard fare vehicles, while excursion rates were up compared to September of 2024. Year to date, we are up 1,070 vehicles, with the Martha's Vineyard route being down just under 1%, and the Nantucket route being up 7.3%.
Because it really depends on.
Freight vehicles were up for both routes in the month of September for a total of 569 trucks compared to September 2024. Year to date, Martha's Vineyard route is down by 413 trucks, while the Nantucket route is up 728 trucks. It's an increase of 0.4%. Cars parked for the month of September shows a decrease on the Vineyard side of 296 cars, while the Nantucket side was up 232. Total for the year, we are up 2,083 vehicles for all lots compared to 2024, which is a 1.5% increase. Trip summary report. In September, we had 1,618 trips scheduled and budgeted for the Martha's Vineyard route and utilized 2 available trips from the schedule. There was a total of 32 trips canceled, all for traffic and trip consolidation reasons. On the Nantucket route, we had 804 trips that were scheduled and budgeted. We utilized 8 available trips and canceled 18 trips total. 2 trips for mechanical, 4 for weather, 12 for schedule, and those 12 were all the Iyanough. Year to date, our trip cancellation percentages are 0.39% for mechanical reasons, 1.22% for weather, 1.47% for traffic, and 1.22% for schedule. The 2024 year-to-date percentages are in green. And as you can see, we are significantly less in almost all of the cancellation categories this year. And then we also have the Oak Bluffs trip diversions that Bob already spoke about. The financial snapshot for September is as follows. Total revenue of 16.9 million, total expenses of 13.5 million for a net income of 3.4 for the month, which is $479,855 less than budget. As you can see, year-to-date revenues were down compared to budget, but expenses were also down compared to budget, bringing us to a net income of almost 17.7 million, which is less than budget by $154,984, or 0.9%. Details of operating revenues. We are down 2.8% for the month of September, primarily due to the automobile revenue, and more specifically, the standard fare vehicles. Compared to budget, year-to-date operating revenue is down just over $2 million, or 1.7%, primarily due to rent revenue and the barging estimates on Nantucket. Total other income year-to-date is down just over $1 million due to the timing of grant projects that were not completed, but the expenses for those projects were also not incurred. In total, operating revenue and other income is down 3.1 million, or 2.4% compared to budget. September operating expenses were up 265,000, or 2%. The largest increase being insurance, and that's the timing of some policies and the extension of the builder's risk policy for the MV Monomoy. Year-to-date expenses are down almost 3 million, or 2.7%. Maintenance expense being the largest decrease, which is the timing of pier work in Vineyard Haven that is now slated for January 2026. That was and is a project that will be paid for with grant funds, which is part of what the other income section I spoke of on the previous slide. Passengers carried. Now we're into the month of October. On the Martha's Vineyard route, we are down 6,313 passengers, or 3.1%. On the Nantucket route, we are down 5,701 passengers, or 9.8%, for a total decrease of 4.5% compared to last October. The draft version of the trips canceled in October is showing 133 trips canceled for weather, with a bulk of those cancellations happening during the long holiday weekend. Year to date, we are still up 32,815 passengers compared to 2024, or 1.3%. Okay, still October. Vehicles carried in October. Both routes are also down as a result of weather cancellations, a total of 1,277 vehicles, or 2.2%. Year to date, the Vineyard route is down 4,487 vehicles, while the Nantucket route is up 4,595 vehicles, for a total increase of 108 vehicles compared to 2024. Does anybody have any questions?
Well, I asked you the question I usually ask Mark.
Okay.
Out of all of this information that you've just given us, is there any specific things that you think the board should be aware of?
I think that we are concerned with some of the October numbers and the cancellations for weather affecting revenue. We haven't done the October financial statements yet, but we are expecting that, especially with the standard fare and the excursion differences that we've been seeing.
Thank you, Courtney.
Peter. Thank you, Courtney, for that presentation. My question goes to, and I understand what this is, but I know we've had questions as recently as the last meeting when we passed the budget. If you could describe what the rent category is in terms of income, and then explain why it's down. I understand why, but I know that's been a question, but from the public not understanding what we mean by rent and why that revenue is down.
So that category is really the GASB requirements that we have, and so leases within 1 year are switched, and so it's showing up in just a different category rather than rent revenue. It's in amortization categories instead of the rent revenue. So it's really just an up and a down between those.
There also was, as Mark and Courtney pointed out during the budget presentation, that the barge revenue over Nantucket is down significantly. There was when the budget was prepared before, there was a year which there was a town project going on, and then that project ended. So the number of barges and the aggregate that was coming over the bulkhead decreased significantly.
So the rent category for the public, it includes the wharfage fees.
The wharfage fees is the biggest piece of it. There's another piece which is like the rent revenue that we receive for the rental cars agencies that are here at the Palmer Ave and in Hyannis at the terminal.
Thank you.
Sorry, Courtney.
Oh, sorry, I was talking rent expense and you were asking rent revenue. Sorry.
Thank you. Anything further? Mark?
Just like to add in that there was 0 mechanical cancellations to the vineyard in the month of September that wasn't mentioned in the report.
It's appreciated, believe me.
All right, so if there's no more questions on that, Courtney will be providing the request for the Martha's Vineyard Regional High School District.
So there's a 3-year transportation agreement with the MV Regional High School District for approved school-related transportation. A little background information, the last contract was a 2-year agreement and expired June 30th, 2025, and was a fixed cost of $40,000 per year. For comparison, Nantucket schools pay 50% of actual invoices for travel, but the Vineyard School District, because it is regional, is better able to budget with each of the towns with a fixed price contract. We estimate this by doing a look back at actual cost of passenger travel and reservations. So during the most recent school year, the Steamship provided transportation for the school district in the amount of $100,547.50. The staff is recommending entering into a 3-year agreement for a fixed contract price of $45,000 in year 1, $50,000 in year 2, and $55,000 in year 3, which would be approximately the 50% discount normally given to the island schools. The agreement would be for the period of July 1st, 2025 through June 30th, 2028. We are looking for a vote from the members to authorize the general manager to execute a new transportation agreement with the Martha's Vineyard Regional School District at this time.
Thank you. Any questions, comments?
And if I may too, the full council at the November meeting voted 5-0 to recommend that the 3-year transportation agreement be approved as proposed.
Okay. Is there a motion?
Motion to approve.
Okay.
Second.
Thank you. Motion been made and seconded. Comes to roll call vote, please.
Jones, aye.
Jeffrey, aye.
Malcolm, aye.
Randy, aye.
Tierney, aye.
Thank you, Maura.
Thank you, guys.
Courtney. Thank you very much. All right, Robert.
All right, so next, we have some procurement items. First off is a request that the members authorize the general manager to award contract number 8-2025, sorry. 8-2025, Vineyard Haven Ferry Terminal Slip 1 Underdeck Concrete Repairs, the ACK Marine and General Contracting of Quincy, Mass, for a total contract price of $911,000. during a structural survey that was conducted by Waterfront Structural Consultants back in 2021, there was identified some defects that we needed to be taken care of over at that facility. The contract was developed to incorporate the concrete demolition and restoration of the underdeck. And I'll point out this is the first of at least 3 phases for this rehabilitation project. So Waterfront Structural Consulting developed the scope of work and the drawings for it. They identified 9 areas in this phase that need to be addressed. The 2025 budget estimate, because this actually was budgeted for 2025, was $1,350,000. Drawings and specs were sent to 14 vendors. 5 responsive bids were received and have been included in your packet. With the breakout, and it's, the recommendation is that the members vote to authorize the general manager to award contract number 08-2025 Vineyard Haven Ferry Terminal Slip 1 underdeck concrete repairs to ACK Marine and General Contracting of Quincy, Mass. For a total contract price of $911,000. Now, having said that, in terms of the bids, again, this is existing concrete pier, under deck work that needs to be done. The original estimate from Waterfront was in the $1.4 million range, and we do want to make the board aware that once they start the work, there could very well be change orders involved in this, particularly when you see the range of the bids that we received from $911,000 all the way up to $1,927,000. So quite a range, and there is a lot of unknowns on this project once they start working underneath and the conditions. So I do see Barry, which I believe is from ACK Marine, in the audience. I don't know whether Barry would like to make any comments, or if you have any questions regarding this, or. If you want to add anything, Barry, you could raise your hand. I was told that he'll be shuffling between 2 different meetings, so he may not be listening at the moment.
I have one question. Given the experience we had with the number of change orders that went on in the Woods Hole Terminal marine side, water side project, and the things that we discovered as we started taking things apart, and the rocks and the different issues that we encountered, and the number of change orders required, are we comfortable that we're being appropriate and conservative enough in our planning, or should we be aware or thinking of that we're going to be running into significant change orders, as you've just mentioned?
Yeah.
Is there a way to, I guess, is there a way to get a handle on this?
Again, the information that we received from Waterfront Structural Consulting was that they anticipated that this would be a higher bid than what we received. We're thankful for that, but again, it's going to be under deck repairs for the most part. The conditions, we're doing this in the January through March timeframe. So in terms of they may find themselves in a situation where they need to be doing work on a weekend when it's not, in order to keep the project moving. And once they start to remove some of the concrete and replace the rebar and reset it, the extent of how far that work, as I pointed out, could very well expand from what the estimate was.
So then, as a capital planning issue, would it make sense to build into our planning a reserve against this project that's beyond this 911?
Yes. So it's not a capital project; it's an operating cost to repair. So that's one thing, but even with that, I would anticipate that it'd be reasonable for, looking at it, whether it's clearly going to be more than, say, the 10% that we had as a contingency for the building of the terminal building in Woods Hole. So I think we were probably somewhere in the 25 to 33% on change orders for the marine work on the off the top of my head for the Woods Hole project, and again, knowing that there was the undiscovered what we were going to encounter.
So should we have it in our operating budget then, a contingency line?
Yes, and I apologize, I don't know whether Courtney can look it up, but the 2026 budget, I'm not sure what that number, and I looked back at the 2025, I didn't look at the 20.
That's it for me, thank you.
Just like that in that, we've done a thorough job in the survey work. If you remember, in the past couple winters, we did the on piling work on the water. This is above water, very important. Sometimes you get into these concrete vents, and we have surface cracks. The cracks propagate below the surface.
Right.
So we're not going to know until we crop out those areas and get a good handle on it. Thank you.
Hence the contingency. Yeah.
Now,
Yes,
this
Mr.
is-
Jones.
This is for the entire project,
This is
or
just,
is this phase one?
this is phase one of what will be three phases.
Okay, so the number two, we should have a better idea of where we are. Or is it different, completely different?
The areas that they'll be working in different areas on each phase, so it may give us a little better insight as to what we may be expecting come phase two and phase three. Yes.
I know in the Donna Barnstable on doing some work that they just put a 25% contingency. As a matter of fact, 10% doesn't do it anymore, especially with the repair work like that. So if you put 25% on there, we should be pretty close to what it might come to.
Yeah. And we're also looking to have a clerk of the works present, so that way we make sure that the contractor is, performing in accordance with the contract.
Okay, you need a vote here?
We need a vote, yes.
Okay, is there a motion?
I don't understand the high bid of 1 point something.
Yeah.
1.2 or something like that.
Yeah, so in that case, and they're all over the place. We had one company that was significantly above all the others in terms of mobilization and demobilization. That number is extremely high from what we've seen in the past. The 1.9, there was they were about 50% higher in one area than everyone else, and even in their estimate for rebar replacement, they were 100-fold higher. So we only get their price. We don't get the detail behind how they calculate it.
Yeah, I'd move that we move forward with a 25% contingency.
Okay, we have a motion to move forward, accept the bid, and build in a 25% contingency for our own planning. Is there a second to that?
I'll second.
Second.
Oh, thank you. We have motion made and seconded. Comes to a roll call vote, please.
Jones, aye.
Jeffrey, I.
Malcolm, aye.
Rainey, aye.
Tierney, aye.
Thank you, Maura.
All right.
Robert.
So next, request the members authorize the general manager to award contract number 05-2025, which is low voltage cable installation project for all SSA locations. The lowest eligible and responsible bidder, which was American Telconnect Services of Warwick, Rhode Island, for a total contract price of $287,000. the terminal findings and observations for the network risk and resiliency assessment had identified some areas that we need to be working on in terms of updating the aging infrastructure and developing a design for the bid specification for this project was sent out to 13 vendors, for which responsive bids were received. And this is for a 1-year contract commencing on the date of award. And there is a provision that the Steamship Authority can reserve the right to extend the contract for up to 2 additional 1-year periods based on mutual agreement, if based on the work that's being done. So we're seeking authorization for the general manager to award contract 05-2025 low voltage cable installation project for all SSA locations. The lowest eligible and responsible bidder, American Telconnect Services, Inc. of Warwick, Rhode Island, for a total contract price of $287,000.
Thank you. I have a question for Stephen on this. Concern I have in the risk description, which is R014, says terminal staff and booth technology deployments are unorganized and not gracefully run. How are we going to address that part?
So at the moment, as it stands today, most of the cabling that has been done over the years has been kind of, sorry, I thought I was solid. Most of the cabling that exists today is fairly ad hoc.
Right.
There are a number of single points of failure at the feet of many of the terminal workers. So it's ripe for disruption at the moment. The way this is going to be done, it's going to be done in a much more organized, managed way. We're going to do bundles of 4. We're going to have it mounted into the walls, plugged into the wall specifically, as opposed to having them run across floors and whatnot.
Okay, so it's physical. It's not
physical.
It's not the daily work activity with the technology.
No,
This is
sir.
the physical infrastructure.
This is simply physical cabling.
Thank you.
At the terminals.
Got it. Thank you. Anybody else?
Yeah.
Robert.
What voltage are we talking about? You say low voltage.
This is just a typical Cat 5 computer wire. It's just something. It's very low voltage. I'm not familiar with the voltage itself, but it's what one would use to connect a computer to a wall outlet.
Okay,
Millivolts.
thank you.
Thank you, Mark.
Got it. Anything further? Peter?
I don't touch anything I can't see.
I guess once again, there seems to be great variation in the 4 bids that were submitted, especially from the lowest and the highest. When I see that, I guess my question is, what is our risk in terms of change orders as to this particular contract?
So we actually met with this company last week. They're very confident that they'll be underpriced on this job. The variation is as great as it is based on I think it was a rounding error on the vendor's part. So to your point, there was still variation. One doubled the other. Mm-hmm. But based on the conversation, based on their years of service, years and the fact that they did a site visit and they're familiar with the infrastructure, they are very confident they can pull it off.
Thank you.
Of course.
Yes, as Stephen pointed out, there was one of the line items for the high bidder that their price was $51 or something like that for it, and all the others were like $5. So they had whether they placed their decimal in the wrong spot or not, but it was written out that way, so we had to accept it the way it was written.
Okay. Is there a motion?
I'll move.
Thank you. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Maura. Okay.
Thank you.
Been made and seconded. Comes to a vote. Voice vote, please.
Jones, aye.
Jeffrey, I.
Malcolm, I.
Rainey, I.
Tierney, I.
Thank you. All right, Robert.
All right, next one, stick around, Stephen. Is to request a vote of the board to authorize the general manager to execute a managed service support agreement for the Steamship Authority's website with IMARC covering the period of January 1, 2026 through December 31, 2026 for a total contract price of $120,000. With the recent selection of new reservation system vendor, Steamship Authority remains reliant upon the current website until late 2026, when the reservation system will be integrated with our waiting in the background website. So the user interfaces, functionality, and performance of the website must be maintained in the meantime, and where necessarily improved to support the needs of the traveling public. So we're requesting that the members authorize the general manager to execute the managed services support agreement for the current website with IMARC covering the period of January 1, 2026 through December 31, 2026 for a total contract price of $120,000.
Okay. Question?
So moved.
Have it move.
I'll second.
Seconded. Comes to a vote, please.
Jones, I.
Jeffrey, I.
Malcolm, I.
Rainey, I.
Tierney, I.
Thank you.
Thank you all very much.
Thank you, Stephen.
All right, so that does it for procurement.
Right.
The chair had asked that an item be added for review of the medical travel requirements. So in your packet, we did provide what the medical program is, and by way of some history, the program originally required that the patron demonstrate that they had 10 appointments for a particular ailment in order to qualify. Back in 2018, that was changed to 5, and that remains the current program. So
Also, there was a modification made that if a resident has multiple doctors for the same type of ailment, then that note itself will cover all those different doctors. So if you're going off for radiation, dermatology, and something else, all for the same unfortunate ailment, then long as we have a letter saying that they're all connected, then all those doctors' appointments will get the discounted rate as well.
Right. So I'd share with the board, one of the items that came up at an informational meeting on the Vineyard was brought up by one of our passengers who has multiple medical appointments, multiple doctor's requirements for notes. This is a person of age and some disability or some medical issues. The requirement for multiple doctors and multiple visits is fairly onerous under the current system. And what I've asked Allison to do, and she's worked with John Cahill, is to resolve the issues of this individual, and then also to take a look at the processes that we have and to the requirements that we have for people in that type of situation, in terms of what we need to do in terms of our policies to make it easier for some of our customers who face these issues to organize their lives and their travel.
And
I understand that that's underway.
Yeah, and I've spoken with that individual that you and Mr. Cahill had spoken to, and it seems to be that one of the issues is her primary care set out a generic letter saying these doctors are all covered under, the different medical groups, but this one doctor, she keeps referring back to an old letterhead, so it doesn't line up with the doctor's note. So it's just trying to work our way through those type of situations. So, but hopefully I'm going to be speaking with her, I think, later on this week. And we're going to see if we can, at least at the time being, have our doctor write a note that'll cover everything correctly. And then she'll be good going forward until we can.
Right. And
Hamilton
you'll circle back with this individual.
Yep. Yeah, no, I've been speaking to her off and on, either via the phone or emails all last week.
Okay.
And some point this week, I told her I'd reach back out again and
Great.
kind of hammer that out a little bit better.
Thank you.
Yep.
Anything further? Did this? No?
Move it,
Pardon me?
I'll move acceptance.
Public comment?
Continuation of the current policy until,
Right. My understanding is that we've resolved the issue with this individual and that we are going to review the current policy and come back to the board with the changes and modifications as appropriate at our next meeting.
It just seems like it's semantics and things. I mean, I think we're all in agreement to go down, 5 and whatever, and all they gotta do is prove it somehow. I mean, you can have our trustee attorney to draft that legal language.
if I may, I think that it's a matter of, putting this on. Allison and Angela, we're going to be looking at the number of individuals that have been in the program and, to show that, but also to see if we can identify the individuals that had submitted, but we weren't able to accommodate, which I don't think is going to be very many. But obviously, anytime we're not able to accommodate someone, it could potentially be a hardship on that person. So, sorry.
Their primary care knows that they're going to be seeing them for 5 or more appointments. They just don't have the dates yet. As long as a doctor can submit a letter stating that I know I will be seeing patient X 7 times this year, then we can work with them on getting them discount on that as well. So
I would seem it should be very, easy if you know that because of their primary care, they don't cover that doctor. Another doctor, can just write a note, and I think it's just,
right. And I think
done.
with this one particular person's case is the fact that the letterhead doesn't match up to what the primary care doctor says, even though it's the right doctor. So it literally is just a semantics type
The
situation.
medical industrial complex can get very confusing.
Yes.
Tell me about.
Thank you. Okay, thank you. Next item.
Next item was the trial staging for standby at Palmer Ave parking lot, which I think we touched, although I did again want to just point out that we do have some upcoming site work at the Woods Hole terminal. So,
right.
With the terminal manager and parking manager for Friday to start the discussions.
Okay, thank you. Anything further? IT?
Next would be a report from the IT steering committee, and we have
Mr. Jeffrey.
Couple of items that came up at our yesterday's meeting with the IT steering committee. One very on point with what you're talking about with the review of medical travel requirements. One of the kind of results or processes and outcomes of the new reservation system is the Steamship Authority comprehensively reviewing all of its policies in terms of types of travelers and pricing. So in part, that will be reviewing the medical travel requirements as one of the categories of travelers that we have. So this review of policies being comprehensive. My understanding from the IT Executive Steering Committee is that part of this is so that they can be categorized into the DAIS system, or if we need a customization for that. But it should make it so that it's far more user-friendly and customer service-oriented in the future in terms of how we can submit proof for being part of those different travel requirements. And the timing should be that sometime after January, but by March, the Steamship Authority management through the IT Executive Steering Committee will have whatever policy changes need to be approved by the board, presented to the board by March of next year. is the timeline on that. The other thing, the procurement plan is on pace to be presented to the Executive Steering Committee by its December meeting. So this would be the comprehensive procurement plan for all the elements to support the DIA implementation through next year, and then presented to the board in January. And then the third major item we discussed was the upcoming town hall meetings, which I'll again emphasize. We really want the public to participate, and John Cahill has really pushed that we make those presentations have a bit of a wow factor, so that we show off the sandbox of different functionalities that this new system will bring to the steamship. And we've discussed that. I know when ADIA presented to us when we were vetting all the contractors, they actually had some mock-ups of how a public would book travel through their system for us. So we're going to be talking to them to see if we can use those components in those presentations at the town hall.
That's great. Peter, sorry, Bob?
I think I know who the executive committee, but can you tell us, everybody, who the executive committee is?
So the IT Executive Steering Committee was created by this board to see through kind of governance, oversee the awarding of the reservation system contract and then its implementation, and report back to this board. I was appointed as the chair of that steering committee, and then two port council members are also on the committee, and that is John Cahill from Vineyard Haven and Eric DeWicki from Fairhaven.
Are they active?
John and I were at Monday's meeting, and John has many ideas, being an IT background himself.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'd also add to what Peter said, that we have had good input as well from the community through this process, and I'd like to acknowledge the value of their input as well.
Yeah, we have a couple regular attendees who put in good comments.
And we appreciate that. Okay, thank you. Next.
Under old and new, there was just a couple things. One, Sean.
I just wanted to bring to the board's attention that the Steamship Authority, we're doing our employee toy drive this year. Again, we started it last year just here at Palmer Avenue as sort of a trial run, and it went very well. So we're expanding that to other locations. So we'll have boxes available for employees to donate toys at the at all of the terminal locations, plus here at Palmer and Mashpee Reservations, and at the Fairhaven Repair Facility. And the beneficiaries of that, we're doing it geographically. So those here on the mainland will go towards Toys for Tots, which we'll do through the WCOD Stuff-A-Bus program, of which we've been a longtime sponsor. Toys collected on Nantucket will go to the Inky Santa Toy Drive. Those in Fairhaven will go to the United Way of Greater New Bedford. And in Vineyard Haven, it'll be the Red Stocking Fund. We're also doing a public toy drive with those passengers who are going over to Nantucket for Stroll. We'll be advertising that right after Thanksgiving, and any toys collected at that will be split between the Stuff-A-Bus and the Inky Santa toy drive, since that's a hands to Nantucket route. So we had a really great participation last year, and a lot of employees wanted to expand it, so we'll be doing so this year.
Great.
Mr. Jones?
How do you distribute the toys?
So the my team will be collecting them, and then so whatever's collected in Vineyard Haven will go to the Red Stocking Fund. Whatever's collected on Nantucket will go to the Inky Santa. And then on this side, my team will be responsible for collecting those and then bringing that to the Stuff-A-Bus event, which is the first weekend in December. So we will deliver the toys to that weekend-long event.
Very good.
Great. Thank you, Sean.
Thank
So,
you.
In addition to the employees, and as Sean pointed out for the stroll, but if any of our customers want to drop them off as well too, we'll accept those and deliver them as well.
We
So,
didn't put them in public areas just so that the employees wouldn't have to monitor that, but certainly if anyone wants to donate a toy, the employees will be able to help them with that.
Good, thank you. Christmas time, holidays.
well, before we hit Christmas, we do have Thanksgiving. So
And there's that too.
I just want to point out that we have added some additional service for the week of Thanksgiving for both routes to try to hopefully get people where they need to be for the holidays. So.
And fix the weather too. Okay. Anything further? Okay, John, we'll take public comment now. And as mentioned before, public comment will be 3 minutes per person. Should there be a response that the steamship or authority or members or board or the staff wishes to do, they will respond in writing to any comment that's been brought forward. So thank you.
Sure. So if anyone has public comment, you can hit the raise your hand icon on the Zoom dashboard.
Or if
anyone's here, but I mean, almost all. Miss O'Connor?
Hi, just a really quick, and I'm going to say it as a question, but of course you're not going to answer it, so you can answer it when you can. But my question is this. By advocating for, I feel like I'm shooting myself in the foot because I love the blue line, but advocating for the blue line only versus allowing other standbys, do we have an idea of how much we lost by doing that in 2025 with the trip consolidations because we didn't have people hanging out, as well as with some boats running under capacity in the middle of the season? Do we have an idea of what that cost is going to be, and have we budgeted that into 2026? Because I can, from my vantage point in running some basic numbers, I believe there will be an impact on income. So just when you can get back to me with that question, that would be great. And similarly, along the same lines, if the Monomoy is not in the water operational on January 1st, what is the financial impact on the P&L for, like, for example, a full year depreciation or whatever it is? But it would be good to understand what the financial impact of those two events could be. Thank you.
Thank you.
That's all I have.
Hearing nothing else? Is there a motion to adjourn this meeting and go into executive session?
So moved.
We need to read it.
Read the statement.
Before we go in, however, I will read the language. I'd like to entertain a motion to go into executive session to discuss and approve the minutes of the authority's meetings on October 23rd, 2025, and to review and discuss the authority's strategies with respect to the exchange, lease, or value of real estate, security, or contract negotiations with non-union personnel. Because a public discussion of these matters may have a detrimental effect on the authority's negotiating bargaining position. These matters include consideration of the exchange, lease, or value of the real properties at Gifford Street parking lot, security video system service contract renewal, and preparation for negotiations with Alex Christo. Public disclosure of any more information with respect to these matters would compromise the purposes for which the executive session is being called. After the conclusion, we will not reconvene in public. So may I have a motion? Moved.
So moved.
Seconded. Thank you very much. Comes to a vote.
Jones, aye.
Jeffrey, I.
Malcolm, aye.
Randy, I.
Tierney, aye.
Thank you very much. This meeting is now concluded, and we will reopen in 5 minutes, please.
Okay.
Thank you.
Moira, just rejoin this meeting at noon.
Okay. Can I just leave it open?
No, I had to close the Zoom, but you just want to rejoin at the same link.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.